Welcome to our second edition of NECC It Again. My name is Jacob Van Ryn. I'm the commissioner of the conference. And today we go back to February 29th, 2020. It was a leap year. It was a special day up in Henniker, New Hampshire, as we played the men's basketball championship game. It was hosted by New England College. They took on Mitchell College. And it's my distinct pleasure now to be joined by a number of key components of this year's championship winning team. First of all, head coach Charlie Mason, associate head coach Malcolm Wynn, and student athletes Chauncey Cheek and Jamal Allen. Gentlemen, first of all, thank you for your time. Obviously, a great day. It was a fun afternoon at your place, and looking forward to watching this basically most of the second half with you, and what was quite an afternoon. Coach, I'll start with you, Coach Mason, I should say. So we have two coaches on. Give me the mindset. You're coming out of halftime. It's a 1-point game. You're hosting a championship. It's been a wild week. You knocked off Dean in a pretty entertaining semifinal win. What's the mindset of this group at a place where you were undefeated this year at Bridges Gymnasium?
Just figuring out how we could win the second half. Very, very straightforward.
And Coach Wynn, I know you're close with these guys, and we'll hear from the student athletes momentarily. But walk us through the preparation as you got ready for Mitchell. Obviously, a team you're very familiar with and a very talented Mitchell College group.
Well, to be honest, the players walked us through it. We never walked them through anything. You know, we're going to have full disclosure today. We just wanted to make sure that no one got complacent.
All right, let's get the second half underway here. Again, New England College took a 39-38 lead into the break. Now, that's where we're going to pick this game up. Start of the second half, championship Saturday, there in Henniker, a capacity crowd. Guys, obviously championship element, championship atmosphere. Give me the emotion and the excitement for the student athletes, for Chauncey and Jamal, the excitement of playing in a game of this magnitude and the ability to host it on your campus.
I would say I don't want to sound like too cocky or anything, but me and Chauncey specifically, we're used to these type of environments. So I wouldn't say it was just another game, but the whole team was all anxious to play. So even the night before, people was texting us at 1 a.m. saying they can't sleep because they're anxious to play.
Chauncey, anything to add there?
Yeah, like you said, for the most part, I mean, growing up, we was always kind of playing in these kind of environments. So, like you said, it was just another game for us. You know, we just go out there knowing every possession matters, and we got to capitalize on everything that they do wrong, and, you know, just follow the game plan. We'll be all right.
Jamal, we see you hit a pretty big three there, but man, Mitchell came out really good in the second half. They outscore you guys by a pretty good margin. I think the run was 29-12 over about the first 7 or 8 minutes of the second half. Coach, what were you not doing well during this stretch as they began to build up a little bit of a lead? Coach Mason, I'll start with you and then go to Coach Wynn about sort of some of the adjustments you guys were talking about internally.
I think a game of runs, every game is like that. And I think you got to give credit to Mitchell. And they made shots. They made some tough shots. And the ball didn't bounce nearly as well for us in the beginning.
Coach Wynn, as you're seeing this early in the second half, a lot of coaches will tell you games are won in sort of the last 4 minutes of the first half, first 4 minutes of the second half. That's certainly not the case, as you see Jamal miss a long three there. I'm not going to call you out, Jamal, because you were awesome in the second half.
Oh, I meant to close my eyes, did I didn't want to see that again.
I stunk it up in the first half and the early second half.
But Jamal, to your credit now, we'll get back to it. You had 27 in the game. You had 24 in the second half. So your second half was not too bad, my friend.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I
think that was still a continuation. That shot was a continuation, you know, from the first half. He had to get that last one out of his system.
Yeah, I think that was it.
All right, Coach Mason, you talked about Mitchell. What were they doing so well? Obviously, you talked about some contested threes, but man, they seemed really comfortable, especially early in the second half.
Again, I think it's a game of runs, and that's the way we played all year. You know, we've gone on some really strong runs, and we've gotten ourselves in a hole the same way. And I think some of those experiences were helpful. But again, you can't take anything away from what Mitchell did, particularly in the beginning of the second half.
You see they built up a 7-point lead. Go ahead, Coach.
Oh, and I was just going to say, the thing about us is that we're not an intimidating team. And, we're really good. Like, we can go blow for blow with any team in the country. However, if you're the opponent, you look at us, there's nothing that's going to, you look at us and say, oh my God, we can't beat these guys. And I'm looking at the way Mitchell is playing right now. They look much better than their record indicated. They beat us at our place. I mean, beat us at their place. They came in our place and played us tough, but they kind of conceded it because they knew they would see us again. That's my opinion. And with us, we know we can beat anybody, and sometimes we don't raise up to the challenge of someone playing out of their mind like Mitchell was at that particular time.
And that's a really good point, Coach. I want to go back to an early season tournament. You guys went down to Worcester, knocked off a nationally ranked WPI team, and then fell to Nichols in a thrilling game. But how much confidence, Coach Mason, did that give your group to say, we're right there with anybody in the nation. We play our best.
I think there's a lot of value to that. Again, watching this game, we're at our best when we're able to press. It's hard to press when you don't make baskets. Again, you take a look at where our strengths are. It's being able to go full court and with Chauncey leading us with that. And again, if we're not making shots, we can't press. Take a look at the results. Our best wins have been when we've been able to do that. And Mitchell, to their credit, they stopped us from scoring, which took us away from what we do best.
And you see here, you're 3 minutes into the second half, and they've built up a 9-point advantage. They were down by 1 at the break, so plus 10, for them to start the second half. Chauncey, talk about the style with which you guys play, because Coach Mason and Coach Wynn have alluded to it, but man, the defense being dyed up in that full court sort of helter skelter, it makes a lot of teams very uncomfortable, and you're at the leader of it.
Yeah, I've been I kind of been doing that for as long as I can remember, and as coaches tell me all the time, and my teammates, it's a great advantage that we have. Obviously, not everybody can just put just a one-man press on, you know what I mean? So we try to use that to our full advantage for the most part. And, I don't really get tired either with help.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't really get tired either because I kind of feed off of like, steals and all the other stuff. I mean, it's good to score, but I like doing all the other stuff that people don't really
I
like.
just have to say, that comment was not intended for the show. That was intended for the coaches. We never want to. So I know what he's doing right here. Okay.
Chauncey, it's an interesting fact though, because the defensive element doesn't get a lot of the headlines. You talk about scoring and leading scorers and whatnot. Where did that come from for you growing up? You're a kid from the Boston area. Where did you learn that mindset? Because I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of basketball in my day, and there's not too many people that affect another team's game plan, another team, what they like to do more than you do in terms of a one-man operation. Where did that come from?
I think being undersized and just coming from the city, just having heart, just knowing that like I said, I've always been undersized. So I've had to stand out in some type of way. And I knew early on that it wouldn't be like my offensive game that, that people like wow to, because it's not like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just always kind of like doing the dirty work, to be honest.
And Jamal, you see another Mitchell 3 there, and they've now built up a double-digit lead. It's up to 12 at this juncture, and you see their bench, they're fired up. They had a good crowd, which made the trip up from Connecticut. As you see Isaiah Winston-Brook, let's get a nice layup there. Jamal, I want to ask you about playing with a guy that's, one-man wrecking crew defensively. What does that do for you to just sort of buoy off that emotion that he provides in those steals and those opportunities he gets you in transition?
Yeah, like I said earlier, me and him played together since we were little. So this wasn't nothing new to me. So like when he gets steals, or even if he got somebody dribbling in one space, that builds up off of all of us. Like that energy he brings makes us even want to play defense. I know I'm not a great defender, but sometimes watching him play makes me want to play defense. It's not as easy as it seems.
You see the full court pressure leading to a steal there, and a transition opportunity for your group. But Coach, you're down by 12 at this juncture now. We're approaching the midway portion of this second half. What's going on your sideline? Where's the mindset with you right now?
Waiting for us to make that next run. I've got Coach Wynn telling me that. So that's reassuring. We've been in this situation before. And again, nothing against Mitchell. Just, we play in runs and we're hoping to get another run going.
You see up and down. I mean, obviously high scoring tilt, very high scoring second half. Coach Wynn, I've watched you manage the bench. You're a guy who stays positive with your group. What are you saying at this juncture? Say, guys, listen, it's going to come. You just got to believe in the process. It's coming. It's coming. As all of a sudden you look up there and the seconds become a little bit more valuable.
Yeah, well, that's what you say is like, you got to believe. However, I'm listening to Jamal and Chauncey, and Jamal was complimenting Chauncey on his defense, and Jamal made one of the best defensive stops, in this game. And then Chauncey's complimenting Jamal on his offense. Chauncey made one of the best offensive, shots in this game. That's how it is. When you're a team, you just have to believe and hang in there. And I'm looking at our effort early. It wasn't a lack of effort. It was the lack of discipline. We're running out on shooters with our hands down, or we're running out on a shooter trying to block the shot, and they're letting us fly past. Little things like that. But mentally, this is a very tough group. And mentally, when you have a catalyst of Jamal and Chauncey and Stephen Thammer, guys that have known each other for a long period of time, guys like Chauncey and Jamal who's played together forever, it translates into wins.
It's 16 right now, the margin, and I mean we've ticked under 10. You're going to see a run out there, nearly another opportunity, but a nice defensive play negates that. Jamal, you got to be sensing as you're out there, guys. It's now or never time, because all of a sudden, a 16-point lead is one thing early, but now we're under 10 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, I wanted to say the clip where I got peeled. That was like my wake up moment. That's what like ticked me off, because we had a bunch of people from back home that came up to watch us play, and if we lost that game, I think they would have never let me live down me getting peeled that bad and he scored. Like Coach said, I think it was the next time out. Coach Wynn told us if we can get it down to at least 10-8 by the 5-minute mark, we'll be in good shape. So in our heads, we're thinking, let's get it down to 10. Let's get it down to 10. We're not like, oh, we're down 16. Let's try to just make it happen all at once. But once I think it was this time out. I'm not sure, but
it comes up.
Get it down to 10.
Well, that was a huge play right there. Sorry for interrupting.
No.
But it's like a little thing. So Chauncey throws the ball to Larry. Larry kind of halfway looked at him and let the ball go through his hands. Now we're down 16. That could be a moment where you really just destruct. But Chauncey came over, they tapped hands, and they went on from there. That was huge.
That's it. That's a great point, Coach. I appreciate you bringing that up. Certainly. Chauncey, let me ask you, here we are. I mean, you can see the score. You can see the situation. You're down 16. We know the outcome, obviously. But walk me through, if you don't mind, 8:40 left. This is a Mitchell team that's playing really well, especially here in the second half. What's going on in your mind saying, guys, we got to do it now or else we're going to end up on the wrong side of this thing?
Yeah, like Jamal said, it's just, and Coach said, it's just a game of runs. And honestly, we was just waiting for our run. No, like you said, no disrespect to Mitchell, but like we were kind of planning on them flaring out at some point, you know what I mean? And then eventually, as they flare out, we'll start to pick ours up. So it'd be kind of a balance off. When they fall off, we pick up, and just from there, it's just on us to win the game at that point.
Unbelievable finish there by you, Jamal, at the other end with a left hand, and then you get a turnover. Now you're starting to get the wheels going. Coach Mason, in terms of a group that plays in spurts as you've done all year long, as you did all year long, it's not new to you. At the same time, you're sensing, all right, guys, we got to make that spurt now.
Well, there definitely was a sense of urgency with 8 minutes to go and a 14-point deficit. But again, I think we had been in these situations previously this year and found a way to get back in the game. So I think that certainly was to our advantage.
All right, we go ahead here. We're under 8. I think this is the timeout you're talking about, Jamal, out of this break. And now you guys begin to click a little bit, but you could sense, having been in the gym that day, great crowd. You guys talk about a great environment. You have that outstanding advantage. You were 13-0 at home this year. And the fans were starting to be like, all right, let's go. You can see people on their hands. And as you're going to see forward, there's a big shot there by you, young man. Now all of a sudden you're saying, all right, here we go. Coach, you talked about earlier, that make allows you to set up the pressure. And now you can sense they're a little bit bothered.
I think we've stopped them 3 possessions in a row defensively. You know, you look at the offense, it's great to score, but again, being able to get stops. And I mean, it's hard to make up points when you're letting the other team score.
No doubt about it. Chauncey's a good defensive seal-off there, and Larry ends up with a steal, and now you're looking to run the other way. As Larry, who was awesome throughout the course of the weekend, gets called for a player control foul there. Not a popular call in the house. But, you know, as we look at this game, Mitchell, a team you're very familiar with, very talented. Coach Mason, Coach Wynn, as you go forward, if you don't mind, walk us through sort of some of the adjustments, or is it just say, guys, we just got to play better? Well, you know, Coach Wynn, I'll start with you. As you're working with your guys over there on the sideline, say, guys, we know them. We know what they want to do. We just got to do it better.
Well, you know, again, it's all about the guys knowing what to do. So I'm going to say this on this broadcast: coaching is overrated. Preparation is the key. We go over stuff with them, and don't get me wrong. You know, the scouts are important. The game preparation is important, but ultimately, as a coach, when you see something, by the time you communicate it to the player, it's too late. But when you have guys that have self-recognition and they see what's going on, I felt pretty comfortable at that point, believe it or not. You know, because we have veteran guys out there.
And you saw great defensive possession there the previous trip where you swarm and you had a good help down, good collapse in the painted area, ends up with a steal, and the ball's going the other way. Chauncey, you ended up with 16 points, 8 assists, and 9 steals in this game. I wish I could say that was an atypical stat line for you, but it really wasn't. You led the nation in steals. Are you sensing out there that you're beginning to get a little bit more comfortable with the ball in your hands, and you know that your backcourt mate Jamal is starting to heat up a little bit?
Absolutely. Like you said, out that timeout, after we broke the huddle, I got the 5 together, and we just said, like, it's time to go right now. Like you said before, it's now or never. And then, you know, me and Sauce just said, let's go. We've been here before. We know what we got to do, and let's just go make it happen. He said, Sauce and the rest of the guys told me it started with me on the defensive end, as it always does, which means that I'm not doing enough, so I had to pick it up.
Jamal, you hit a triple there from about 25, 26 feet away, and there you're going to steal on a run out here opportunity, and all of a sudden, that's actually
how I did that.
somehow you get over to Larry, and now you begin to sense that it's a 10-0 spurt forcing a Mitchell timeout. Now all of a sudden you're feeling pretty good about it. And you know, Coach, you talked about this game of runs, but man, some people argue momentum's not real. I totally disagree. I mean, having watched so many games, you can just sense there's a turn in the building and with the atmosphere and the attitude of your guys. Coach Mason, I want to ask you about sort of witnessing that from your vantage point over there on the sideline.
It's been like that the last 3 years, honestly. The campus is, I mean, our home court advantage is like nothing I've ever seen before, and really fortunate to have that. And again, I think Coach Wynn was talking about has everything to do with our players too. I mean, Mitchell just scored the first basket in the last 8 possessions. Again, really being able to put the stop on that end has allowed us to get back in the game.
I know you're talking about doing something.
That last little segment, you missed the streak. You know, Jamal got his assist. So his last 10 games of the year, he always got at least one assist. So that streak was in jeopardy up until that point.
And there you see Larry getting a steal. And now the game is seemingly being played at your style and your tempo. Jamal hits another 3. Jamal, you had 7 threes in the game, 6 of them in the second half. What's it feel like for a guy who played high school basketball and never had it going like you did offensively? What's it feel like when all of a sudden you're sensing it and you know that basket just feels like it's as big as the gym and you're going to make anything you throw up there?
Like I said, I don't want to sound cocky or anything, but I feel like when you preparate in the gym for it, it's just like okay. But like in this moment, I'm not even thinking that I made all that. I'm just like, let's get some more stops. I'm not even thinking about that.
At what point do you guys, and Chauncey, I'll ask you first, at what point do you guys sense, yeah, they led by 16, now it's down to 5, and now even though we still have this hill to climb, we're feeling pretty good about where we're at?
Yeah, like you said, momentum is real. That whole momentum swing we just had, where it really started on the defensive end. Without us getting stops, the shots that Sauce hits is like, I mean, obviously they obviously matter, but it's like without defensive stops, there's no way that we'll be able to even get back in the game with Sauce being able to hit all these shots and just guys making plays on both ends of the floor. It's just it really starts on the defensive end, and going back to what I said before. That my guys tell me that starts with me. Whether I get steals or not, just the defensive pressure, just it speeds up the whole pace and the whole tempo of the game, and I just want to make sure that I did my job on that.
And that's really a mindset thing and an attitude that really spirals over to your teammates that are out there on the court. All right, Coach Mason, I know that, here we are, it's championship day, there's 4 minutes left, you're down by 8. Where are you at mentally at this juncture?
Thinking about the next play, how we can get a stop. We've now have not scored the last 2 possessions and keeping our wit about ourselves, waiting for that next run.
Coach Wynn, I can see you watching intently. I love how both you guys are watching. As coaches here, you get a run an opportunity.
Well, no, it is because I like to point out mistakes. So I said, I didn't see that. No, but to Coach Mason's point, so we just had Larry a couple of plays before taking offensive charge. We weren't scoring on the other end, but we were holding them down too. And when they did hit a basket, we answered. But there were some behind the scene things that were going on because now we've cut this big lead, in half. Now you're worrying about those guys out there being fatigued. But some of the other players on the team, because again, as coaches, we can mess this up. We were trying to make subs, and guys were like, "Nope, nope, let him stay in there." And that's huge because that's what being a good team is all about: self-recognition. Even when it's sacrifice, because everybody wants to play, everybody wants to contribute, but those contributions came in the form of taking a pass during this run as well. So that was huge.
Shout out to Stephen Farmer for holding it down. When he saw a run like this,
refusing to go in for Jamal. Hey Jamal, and contrary to rumor, it wasn't me trying to sub him.
No, it was me.
I love that comment, Coach Wynn. Thanks for sharing that. That's really good as they hit a big 3 there to answer and make the lead back to 5. But I mean, when you work so many hours you put into this and you start to see the culmination of that with guys sacrificing for one another, man, it just makes it all worthwhile.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And now it's back to 7. Coach Mason, are you seeing, when you make a run, I've always thought at some point you got to get over the hump because you can keep climbing. But if you never take the lead, if you never get it back to even, at some point you start to say it's just not our day. Did you ever get that sense that it just wasn't our day?
Well, I think in the last couple of minutes, you see, even when Mitchell's making the shots, they're quick shots. So it's playing to the style we want. We just got to get stops. And that's what, again, they make a run, we make a run, but there's still a lot of time left, as opposed to taking the clock down before they make those shots.
You see Larry get a second opportunity there, can't come away with it. It's finally Isaiah ends up, and he'll go to the foul line. You're down 6. Jamal, you've obviously got the hot hand. Walk us through from the student athlete perspective. The bench is fired up. It's a good buzz in the building. In terms of what are you guys talking about? Say we got to do this to get all the way back and win this one.
Like you see how Joe's coaching Chauncey up right now. He's telling them we're not even worried about offense. We're just talking about just getting stops. And I appreciate my teammates giving me confidence. Like even if I miss a shot or anything, they're telling us like keep going, keep shooting. Like this attitude, like we're gonna keep playing hard until there's no time left.
It's an awesome attitude. Kind of an unbelievable fact here is that Mitchell doesn't score the rest of the way. So, Coach Mason, you talk about you figured that run was going to come. Coach Wynn, you got to keep believing. Well, it came at a pretty good time. And, I'm just going to stop talking and let you guys watch this and sort of enjoy this as a couple of coaches and a couple of players, because this final 90 seconds is as good as it gets.
I have to make a comment as I'm watching Jamal make all of these shots. And I'm thinking back to the beginning of the season. I'm like, man, I'm glad we stuck with this cat. Because in the beginning of the year,
I could have told him the ocean.
but we knew it was going to come. I mean, I've seen this kid ever since he was a peewee, and I know what he is capable of doing. But again, as a coach, you get caught up between your sentiments, your emotions, your trust and belief with what you're actually seeing. So thanks, Jamal, for bailing me out.
Thank you, Coach.
It's got to mean something for you, Jamal, to have the the belief of your guys, and from being around your program a little bit this year, it was really a tight knit group, and I think that went a long ways. I'm curious to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, definitely. Even Chauncey could say, like, we were tight 1 through 16, all of us. It's like if a certain group is doing something, oh, we're going to his house to go and chill, and just like build up that team camaraderie, and then that's what like it translated onto the court, as you guys can see. Even the people that didn't even get in the game, you see how everybody's standing up still, like we're still in this, and they felt like they were all a part of it, which they were.
Interesting fact, we're on break right now.
Right.
You look at the crowd, you talk about a community rallying behind the program. I mean, our students are on spring break. And that's
and it'd be very remiss of us not to mention the parents and the friends of families. It's like it's such a it's a traveling sideshow. So.
And not only that, but having been there early, how many people were there like 2 hours before the game started? I mean, it was like you knew it was going to be tough to get in that day.
We didn't expect that at all. We
really?
Kind of came in down because everybody's on break, so we were like, it's not gonna be like how we saw them win it 2 years ago, but it turned out that way.
And the women's team was on the road.
Yeah,
I mean, to throw that out there as well.
Oh, Coach, you have to share that story about the women winning and us being down 16.
Oh, that they were at a restaurant on Edge, and when we made the last shot, when Chauncey made the last shot, the team went crazy, and the rest of the restaurant didn't know what was going on.
Well, I'll tell you another side of that is that before the game, I mean, you guys tipped off basically as the women's championship was coming to an end. And everybody was like, Jamal, you're probably speaking about this because, the environment in the building, everybody was like watching their phones or whatnot because everybody's watching what's going on down at ENC. Your women get your women win down there. Coach Mason, here we are. You're down 4, 1:06 left. If you don't mind, what's the message during that timeout? Again, we talked about this. They don't score the rest of the way. So, you're dialing it up defensively, but do you think you're going to get enough offense to get you over the hump?
Again, I think Coach Wynn hit it on the head earlier. I mean, this is more about our guys doing what they know they can do, as opposed to us coming up with the secret sauce at this point.
And there your defense generates a steal. Chauncey, we're going to hear from you for a good deal here coming up. Chauncey, you did it with your defense. Your offense comes up big, but is the thought right now find a way to get the ball in Jamal's hands just because he's feeling it?
But right there, I just had to. I don't know. I feel like I had him right there, so I felt like I just had to go just capitalize off of what I seen.
And that obviously a big basket forcing a Mitchell timeout. I think your defense is going to.
And he shot that with his right hand.
No, he didn't.
Oh, yeah.
I knew that was coming. Should have been an N1. But.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, but I'm a little biased. So. Hey, I have to say, that was a good officiating crew because one thing that they didn't do, which I really appreciate, is they didn't insert themselves into the game. You know,
Yeah.
they let the game play out. You know, because for both sides, you want the players to decide the outcome, and I think that is what happened.
Um, Jamal, it's two right now. You've actually never led since basically very early on in the second half. That being said, do you sense like, yeah, we're down two, but my guys are rolling right now and we feel pretty good?
Yeah, like there was everybody was saying that in the huddle, like, yo, this is where we want to be. This is right. This is right where we want them. And the possession before, it's like they just threw the ball away, and we got that sense of like, oh yeah, they're tired now. So we're thinking, well, we can get another stop.
Can you sense that out there on the court?
Yeah, because I like to trash talk, so if I say something and you don't say something back, I'm thinking you're a little bit nervous, even though you got the lead. So.
You see Chauncey on the ball here, and it double comes, and they're struggling with your pressure. Coach Wynn, you talked about the officials let them play.
And that was the biggest steal of the game right there. I have to give a shout out to my offensive hero, who dove down on the floor for the tie up.
Multiple people told us they thought pretty good about our chances when Sauce is diving on the floor for a loose ball. When your offensive players start doing that, then things are lined up the right way.
Oh yeah, a little heads up. I was thinking about letting the senior try to tie it for us. So me and Zay's make a little eye contact. I felt like he had an advantage on whoever his matchup was. So instead of giving the ball to Chauncey, I gave it to Isaiah to see if he could take us home in his last home game in his gym.
That's a great fact, Jamal. Thanks for sharing that. You see Isaiah go to work on the block here and has to kick it back out. Guys, we're going to hear from each of you as we relive this last 30 seconds here. We get another near steal and then a foul is called. We'll do it probably maybe in order. We'll go last with Chauncey as we watch this. Coach Wynn, down two. You can see the situation there on the board. You already heard from Jamal say Isaiah's got an opportunity to go to the senior. Is there any question who's taking the shot in this situation? Jamal's been awesome in the second half. Isaiah's had a great year. What's the thought?
It's funny that you would go to me on that, because I know who we would have liked to have taken the shot, but I also knew who was out there on the floor, and I know his mentality, and I'm not going to say any names, but let's just say I kind of had a good idea who was going to end up taking the last shot. And I was right. That's it. We'll just say it like that.
That's a great fact, Coach. I appreciate you sharing that.
Actually, he told me who was going to take the last shot, and that's Coach Quinn telling me on the bench as the last seconds went down. He's not getting.
I said he's not passing it. He can't take that chance. He can't take that chance.
When that went in, I said, all right.
It was meant to be.
We're gonna win this one.
I think that's the first time I ever made a free throw like that, where it bounced up and then just got right in.
Because he wasn't supposed to make that one.
Hey, that was just building up your confidence to take the last shot.
That's all it was doing.
The second one's missed pretty badly, but we'll. I think we can overcome that with
I'm
what
glad
happens.
I'm not the only one thinking that.
You get the player control foul. Now you're getting the ball back. All right, we've heard from Coach Wynn. Coach Wynn's going to take it to his grave that he knew who was going to take and make the shot. Coach Mason, what's your thought in this process? You got the ball. Obviously, the situation is what it is.
Honestly, I thought we were going to take a quick shot, have a chance at a rebound, and prolong the game. And but Chauncey had other thoughts. And that's not the first time we've had to do that. So I sat down and I watched.
You were like everybody else.
This is interesting here. We're like, okay, this is great. He has the ball in the middle of the floor. We're opening up. He comes to this side. Okay, it's great.
They're telling him to
now,
go.
Okay, now you're going on the wrong
side. They tell me to go.
Oh, no. Oh, now, okay, we got to do something. All right.
I didn't even, that wasn't even the first time in my mind. From last year, Matt Fink hit a half-court shot from half
I
court.
wasn't even worried about the shot,
So
bro.
I wasn't even thinking
yeah,
about the shot. My first mental thing was, where is he? So
yeah.
once I found him,
There you go.
I didn't let him touch the ball at all. I let
That,
somebody else.
You know, the beauty of that last shot, I mean, obviously anyone that can see that it went in, but I'm sitting there and I'm saying, I can't believe this, words I can't say right now, held his follow through.
It's funny you say that, Coach. If you rewind it back after the last shot's taken, you take a look at Red and the way he runs up and down the court trying to find someone to hug.
Yeah.
No one's happier than Chauncey's father. It
Yeah,
really, it's a
absolutely.
Jim Valvano moment.
Yep, absolutely. That was unbelievable.
Hey, I want to hear from the student athletes first, and then we'll wrap it up with the coaches. Jamal, obviously the celebration. I love your insight there into bringing back what happened the year prior when, a half quarter actually ends it, and your presence of mind to say, all right, we got the lead, but now we got to get it stopped. There's still like a second half left. Just walk us through what's going on right now and what's in your head knowing you've won a championship.
I was like, he really hit that shot. I was thinking, because we all know he's not known for being a shooter, but like Coach Wynn says, his mentality, and he got the confidence that if I take the shot, I'm gonna make it. So after he did that, I was like, wow. I was like, dang, we really just pulled this off. We wasn't even supposed to win this one.
Hey, Chauncey, 1 3-point attempt in the second half. It was that one right there. It ends up being for the title. Was there any doubt in your mind that you were going to make a play for your team in that situation?
No doubt in my mind at all.
Was there any doubt the ball was going in?
Not at all. Like you said, they always told me, Jamal included, if you hold the follow through, the good things are gonna happen. Sometimes I'm a little naive to it, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. I held my follow through. That's not the reason why the shot went in, but I'll let them.
Okay, all right.
Don't tell him I said that though.
Dude, that's the Chauncey I know. Even when he gets the results that he wants, his stubbornness, I can't be that,
Yeah, that's him.
Hey, so I'll give him a compliment, and we'll finish it up with Coach Mason, is that I was saying to myself, I said, well, last year he made the basket on a layup, which is his strength, to put us up one, but he left too much time on the clock. So I applaud him for leaving less time on the clock so we didn't have a repeat of what happened to us the year before.
That's crazy how that works.
Yeah.
It was pretty remarkable. All right, Coach Mason, put a bow on this for us. Unbelievable comeback, unbelievable group. You talked about, the consistency and staying with it and just believing it was going to come. From your perspective, you've been the head man there for 18 years, watching this all come together almost, in like a 10-minute span. We talked about you're down by 16 at the midway portion of the second half. Man, it's got to feel unbelievable for you, just knowing the hours and the effort, the recruiting, all the preparation, all the scouts, all the practice hours, all the bus rides up and down the East Coast. That moment as a coach, seeing it all come together, has got to be special.
Honestly, I was just really excited for our guys, and particularly our seniors. The year before we were on the other end of it. Yep. So, again, we know what it felt like to be Mitchell, because we were in those shoes a year ago. The ball went in this time for us. And again, really grateful for our seniors to be able to finish out their careers at Bridges Gym the way they did. And really excited for guys like Chauncey and Jamal to have the role they played in that finish.
Gentlemen, a true pleasure. Chauncey, Jamal, thank you. Obviously, we look forward to watching you again this year. Both you guys will be returning, and certainly, I assume defending a title is on the list of goals this year. And coaches Mason and Wynn, I can't thank you enough for your time this afternoon, and we look forward to watching your group go forward.
Thank you. I
Thank you
appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you.